Very good morning. Assalamu alaikum. Namaste to all our customers who have joined today's event. So let me take this opportunity to greet and make sure that everyone is all well, safe, and healthy. So before going into the session, myself Srihari from Infoblox Qatar. So I represent sales. Now let me thank to the fellow speakers who are part of this today's summit. And I take here from Infoblox point of view. So let's go into the presentation on what we're going to talk about. And this is nothing but one of the recent experience that have come across. Probably that experience will help everyone how we think and how we correlate in the real world. So let me share my screen on the slides and take you from there. So today we are going to talk about zero trust model and DNS, and the concept here is basically to demystify the concepts of advancing security on infrastructure. So let's go on to the agenda. So what is zero trust, and why zero trust and why now, and how is zero trust model and DNS are correlated. So let's go the first one. Uh, if you look at from a DNS point of view, Infoblox is the industry leaders when it comes to the DDI. We are having almost like 53% of market share. So that's a pretty impressive number. Okay. Apart from that, we are present in Fortune 1000, 2000. So right now we have global as well as many regional references that can really help you and to showcase the value proposition that Infoblox can do your esteemed organizations. Now, what is zero trust? So, and how do we do as a cybersecurity best practices? So let's go into this. Now, recently I have traveled from India, so I can share you the. I will not say it's a hassle, but there are a lot of things that we have gone through, especially when it comes to traveling. So we need to have a PCR test 48 hours before. Then you need to have one more PCR test at the airport. A lot of checkings and the regular checkings, boarding, passport, valid visa, travel documents, luggage screening and everything. So we will share how we are talking about a traveler experience with respect to zero trust. So last, the very first initiation could be a travel documents, booking, baggage weight, that's what you see. So it's nothing but validating the user and the device. Then the second, what we talk about is passport control and clearance. Here we talk about control and minimizing the application access. So, okay, this gentleman is only supposed to access these, or is he able to travel or not? The security checkpoints is basically the screenings. So that we refer to the foundational securities, just as a DNS security, how do we secure our DNS? The next is baggage screening. So we correlate baggage screening with data protection. So what's going inside the data, and is it a legitimate traffic or a malicious traffic? The next comes the CCTV surveillance. So we can obviously anyone can be monitored where this particular gentleman or an asset where it has been left. That is nothing but visibility. We try to correlate where exactly this devices are, or what all the activities this particular user is doing. So you can track down, which is nothing but reporting. So next is boarding. So during the boarding, what we try to do is micro segmentation. So micro segmentation, we try to create dynamic access lists or access lists and groups or whatever. The last one is airport security police. Airport security police can come anywhere within the terminal and take his corrective actions or whatever that is required, or verifications. So that is nothing but we integrate with SIM and SOAR, and we simplify in terms of automation also. So this is where we'll go more in detail on this explaining. So let's go into the next slides. Why now? This is more important. If you have noticed, the network has become borderless. People were talking about borderless from a long time, saying that yes, borderless. So what people used to do, probably they used to be in the same country or same terrain, and they used to operate work from home, but that was not a mandatory option. But with the COVID coming into situation, the pandemic situations and everything, everyone is literally work from home. So can I trust the user? Yes. Is it my corporate asset? Yes. But where is it coming from? We cannot. So how do you secure them? My footprint, which is within the organization, has gone behind the terrains. People, I used to work from India, so we know what type of security that needs to be taken care when it comes to the end user who is literally outside the terrain, and what assurance that has been given and what access that needs to be provided, that is absolutely taken care. And Infoblox has that solution which can really mitigate the risks. So let's go. This is the old concept, where people used to go to an service provider, ask for the MPLS lease line, and club all the branches to the nearest data center or to the headquarters, and from there they go to the internet. I have a perfect control. I don't have to worry because any traffic that is coming to headquarters and then going up, this is absolutely fine. Now, with the present situation and with the type of applications that are coming up, which are everything is SaaS-based applications or cloud-based applications, how do you see that? So this is the new architecture that you might be seeing all across. And on top of this, people have gone to their respective houses and working. Plus, on top of this, we're increasing BOADs and IoTs. These are unmeasured security. So these particular things also needs to be addressed along with this decentralized option, or what we call the new architecture, which is based on SD-WAN. Right. So SD-WAN is booming up. It is coming up. It's coming into every verticals and every accounts and showing the value proposition, connecting directly to internet and getting all the services that are really required. Now, why today? Why now? Okay. If you have listened or observed the during the COVID pandemic situation, there were a lot of attacks, cyber attacks, which have been being spread across multiple countries and everything. So the surface has doubled. The surface has doubled. We can see the risk is going on. Plus, on top of this, what we don't have a dedicated location because people are spread. How do you control them? The security inefficiency has increased, either it's from architecture or reactive point of view. So it is all siloed approach. The next is it has increased the burden on security operations team because even they are also very few are doing from office and rest all are work from home. So the burden has increased on them. The security needs to be mitigated. How do we do that? Because it couldn't be done. So a lot of proper corrective actions were not taken in place. But if you have some tool or some technology which in place, probably it will help in correlation with your SIM, integration with your SIM and store, and integration with your next other security appliances within organizations. So how do we do that? So can Infoblox value add in this particular aspects? This is what we're going to talk about now. Now, how do we correlate between zero trust and DNS? Again, we're going back to the old model, the traveler experience, where you could see that we have correlated from boarding all the way to from checking your boarding pass and everything all the way to till takeoff. The same way we'll give you a comparison or an explanation how it is going to happen. So if you look at, we are considering the airline as an Infoblox first class. That's our privilege. Our destination is secure organizations, and obviously the gate is nothing but the port, which is port 53. So it's a UDP 53. So let's go one by one again. So we have been talking about validate users and devices. So we need to make sure that a valid user is accessing. That is nothing but when we say this is basically DHCP fingerprint. The fingerprint is basically identifying the type of OS you are running. This particular device is associated to this particular Active Directory user, and there is a Blocks One agent, which is basically a DNS firewall cloud. You have three options: on-prem, cloud, and hybrid. So this is one of the agent which will be residing on a thin client, which will be residing on the laptop. The next comes is control and minimizing application access. This is basically threat intelligence feeds, content categorization, or custom RPCs. You have your own custom RPCs that can be added to the threat intelligence feed, and then it can go to entire security platforms that you have within your organizations. Fundamental security, foundational security. So we are talking about DNS firewalls, advanced DNS protection, basically protecting the organization from any external threats. So that's where advanced DNS protection comes in, and make sure that the attacks have been very well addressed at the external level itself. The next comes is data protection. So what we're talking about specifically, any kind of infiltration or exfiltration. Okay, and how do we mitigate such exfiltration and infiltrations? This is basically to make sure that port 53, which is a unsecure, UDP port, so that particular port cannot be scanned by any other security players as much as we really scan, because that's our area. That's where we focus on, and that's where we make sure that a perfect security is in place to your organization. Visibility, as mentioned, we are talking about the reporting, particular reporting, where you can identify this user, or let's say this DNS query specifically. You can get the entire history of that particular activity. Okay, so next we are talking about micro-segment networks. So as mentioned, it could be a DNS views, group policies, ACI, GSLB, wherever you can do the segmentation using the help of Infoblox. And the last question is the cement SOAR. So they integrate across all your security platforms or network infrastructure, the same way what we're talking about airport police. So looking at here, we, as part of SIM and SOAR integrations, we have ecosystem integration, we have tied threat intelligence data exchange and enforcements, right? So these are part of the SIM and SOAR automations, what we're talking about. So overall, if you see, right from entry all the way till exit in an airport, departure, there is a systematic approach that has been taken by the airlines or by the airport authorities. Even though you are a genuine legitimate user, at every checkpoint, right from entering into the airport all the way to the gate or entering inside the flight, you will be verified again and again and again with the same information. But the security check, what has been done at the first instance versus the security check which has been done at the last instance is different, because they add more on headers and they verify that yes, he is a legitimate user, he has a valid visa, whatnot. The same way we make sure right from the user where he is residing, on what device he is operating, and what is the IP, and where is the location. If it is within the organization, we can tell you the location also, all the way till where is he accessing, what is he doing on that. Okay, if it is a good traffic, we allow. If it is a bad traffic, we quarantine and inform NAC, or we integrate with your next generation firewalls, or we integrate with your SIM and make sure that the perfect correlation or action is in place. That is really important to make sure that no risk is, I would say that the risk is very well addressed, okay, and it is mitigated. That's very important. So going back to the national security agencies, as part of the US national security agencies, they have generically studied the market, how the cybersecurity is going towards, and they have created certain kind of prerequisites to make sure that any organization wants to follow. There are certain criteria which will make sure that this is the compliance of NSA, okay, National Security Agency. If you look at this particular slide, you can see everything is green. That means Infoblox solution is perfectly compliant. There is not even a single sector or requirement which is unaddressed by Infoblox. So if you have Infoblox security and Infoblox solution in place, by default you are complying to US national security agencies. So there are many countries across the globe who do follow, because they believe that they have certain best practices in place, and they make sure that if we comply, then obviously as part of compliance, they're well enough to make sure that we are a protected organization. So Infoblox can assure you that yes, once you have something called NSA, or you can blindly go with it, yes, this is a product or technology which by default complies to all the requirements of National Security Agency guidelines. Now, this is one of the good slides that I really like. What we call is national ecosystem integrations. The in security world, it is always, or it has to be always heterogeneous. Why we say heterogeneous? I can go on a network as simple as homogeneous network. I will go with one brand and make sure that my entire infrastructure, switching, routing is from one particular brand. But for security, no, it shouldn't be like that. It has to be heterogeneous. I need to see different technologies playing different roles in making sure that they're talking to each other and they're collaborating. That's really important. Okay. So Infoblox is such a fantastic player. Guess what? We will be part of the orchestration. We know what feed has to go in what format to the specific security vendor. This is one. We share the threat intelligence to multiple security products. Number two. Number three, we know what type of action that needs to be initiated because there is an API already in place. With NAC solution, when should I quarantine? Based on the DNS pattern or queries that has been initiated. So we take their corrective actions. If we see that this is a malicious traffic, we quarantine on behalf of NAC. The same goes with next generation firewalls, where we try to create or where we create a dynamic access list saying that any communication going back and forth to this particular destination, deny. So that simplifies the operations of your IT security team and increases the security efficiency within your organization. So that will really help you to bridge these silos. So it's no more a silos infrastructure. So we are not telling that you don't have to replace any of the security products, but on top of the security infrastructure, what we have, we integrate with almost like 40 different vendors, and each one has their own value proposition that you can really look into this. So that's a fantastic thing that can be really taken. So probably we can have a detailed session based on your requirements and address that, how we integrate with NAC, how we integrate with SIM, how we integrate with endpoint, how we integrate with vulnerability management, or you need to have your own tip apart from the threat intelligence what we provide. So a lot more, you know. So this is a fantastic slide where I really like. We can spend more time on this. That will give a fantastic integration. We complement, not compete with other security players in your organization. So one of the slides is, yes, you have threat intelligence from Infoblox and you have threat intelligence from many other places. All goes to the tide, and tide will correlate and then sends that particular into specific formats to all the security appliances within organization. It's a cyclic approach. There is one good part which is called Dossier. Dossier is a investigation tool where you enter a domain's name and basically it will tell you the entire history of this particular domain. Where was it created? When was it created? Who is, what are the threats associated with this particular domain as on date? Who are the vendors so far identified that this particular domain has following threats? And is there any mitigation that had happened? Maybe a new patch or a new announcement from that particular domain. So this entire thing is part of Dossier search engine. So it's a malware search engine for all the DNS. So as a summary, what we want to tell you that Infoblox provides the foundational security, okay, and supports key aspects that are really required for zero trust deployments. So we could very well complement and make sure that we are part of the zero trust infrastructure for your organization, and we really help you in mitigations. So this is what I want to pass from my side. So thank you for all your time. The last thing which I really want to address is the threat intelligence. Kindly do subscribe to infoblox.com/cyber threat intelligence, where you will be getting any cyber threat that has been triggered anywhere. So you will get the report on what events or what was the malware talking about and how do we mitigate. So it's a perfect threat insight, I would say, that will really help you and your organization to make sure that you are updated with the latest threat intelligence. So thank you all once again. Thanks for your time and be safe. Thank you.